August of 1944. In August of 1944, about 7 weeks after D-Day, the Allied armies are in northern France fighting through the hedgerows. And the German forces counterattacked and pushed the Allies back and threatened to throw them back to the beachhead. And everybody was worried, well, this is a concerning moment. What do we do? And General Eisenhower walked into his commanders and he said, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take this moment and turn it into an opportunity. We're going to turn it to our advantage. We're going to make a positive out of this. You have 1 hour to come back to me with the plans as to how we're going to do that. And his commanders did. They came back and turned it into an opportunity. In fact, counterattacked, and it turned into be an Allied victory and was the largest capture of German POWs during the war. 2 weeks ago, today, Pauline walks into a room and says, we have an opportunity. We're going to take the current situation, we're going to take this and turn it into an opportunity that makes us better, that moves our program forward. And then she delivered. She delivered on an opportunity to move our program forward. I've known the Hawkins family, I've worked with the Hawkins family, I've respected the Hawkins family for many years. I have already had many long talks with Cody Hawkins over the last few days, where we've talked about leadership. We've talked about culture, about a winning culture, about how you establish a team psyche of winning and a program built on excellence, integrity, and the culture of winning. I know he knows how to do it. Pauline did exactly what she said she was going to do 2 years ago and created a fantastic opportunity for Bengal football and our athletics program to move it forward. Now, to finish the story I told just a minute ago, at the end of the Battle of the Falaise Gap, Eisenhower realized he had to find a new commander to be the offensive-minded commander to drive the armies across Europe and towards victory. And he turned to a new commander named George S. Patton Jr. and he said, George, drive your armies across Europe. Let's win this thing. Pauline has brought us a new offensive-minded commander who's going to drive the Bengals across the Big Sky Conference to victory. And I have every confidence that Pauline has delivered on that. And I'm excited about our future. And to tell you more about our new coach, Pauline, you're a fantastic athletic director at Idaho State University, Pauline Theros.
All right, this is where it gets good. This was a really difficult process, and it was difficult for many reasons, including we were dealing with a sudden transition, something that was unexpected, something that was hard to absorb in the first moments. But we did turn it into an opportunity, and one where we had a huge number of qualified candidates who made this a very, very difficult choice. All of the things that are paramount in a good football hire were forefront in our minds. Football knowledge and the ability to execute. The network and the relationships and the experience to go and recruit the players that it requires to execute. The ability and the readiness to put together an exemplary staff of men to lead our football program. A commitment to academic integrity and to a culture of compliance, extremely important. Familiarity and expertise within our league, within the Big Sky Conference, the best FCS football conference in the country. Relationships within our recruiting footprint that go way back, that are developed already, and a willingness to expand that recruiting footprint. The ability to articulate a shared vision and to be a great partner in building success for Idaho State football. And, not the least, a true appreciation for our community, for our state, for the talent that we grow here, and better yet, a person that calls Idaho home was very important. Greater than all of these things, I needed to hire a man and a leader that you and I, and especially that our student athletes could trust. I needed to hire a leader and a man who would build up our student athletes, who will multiply their effort, who will reward their trust and their confidence, who will add talent to their ranks and build a truly strong culture and program, someone who will fortify our program and make it great through addition and enrichment and service. Coach Hawkins is the picture-perfect embodiment of those things. In recent years, he's orchestrated one of the most prolific offenses in the Big Sky Conference. He's recruited the talent to execute it and has been a key component of building a room which values and produces high character, high academic performance, and men of excellence. In 2022, Coach Hawkins engineered an offense that produced the Big Sky's leading rusher, leading passer, and scored 39.5 points per game in Big Sky Conference play. He's here today, and he is filled with a commitment to our student athletes. Coach Hawkins will devote himself to ensuring that their dream of playing college football is an experience that they will treasure forever. He brings a lifetime of football experience and football knowledge. He learned to walk after he learned about football, I'm pretty sure. He's been a student of the game from a very, very early age. He's been a Big Sky Conference football champion. He has been an Idaho Gatorade Player of the Year. And as a high school player, Coach Hawkins went 40-0 at Bishop Kelly High School, winning a state championship right here in Holt Arena. It is a place he loves and appreciates. So I am so proud. I am inspired. I am so very grateful and encouraged to welcome Coach Cody Hawkins, his wife Tiana, his daughter Finley, who's been reading books to me today already, and his son Bowen to Pocatello and to Idaho State University. Coach, welcome.
I hope you guys are clapping like that on game day. First and foremost, I just got to tell you how excited and honored I am, and I really appreciate this opportunity. I appreciate President Satterlee and Pauline Theros trusting me with this opportunity, but I wouldn't be here without thousands of countless people, so I can't thank everyone, but I do need to start out thanking my wife, Tiana. She's a Capitol High grad, if there are any Eagles here, right? Gurkha Stick, Eagle score. And then my son, Bowen, in the back, he's running around with a sucker. He's pretty excited about it. My daughter, Finley, here. She's 3.5, but going on 27. Loves to read, got a great imagination, and one of my best friends. You guys will see my kids around a lot. That is one of the great things about having the opportunity to coach for your dad, is he wants the grandkids around more than he wants you around. But I also got to thank my family that I was born into. First and foremost, my mom. Anybody who knows coaches knows their wives are the rock stars of the family, and my mom was tough. She was loving. She was selfless. And every time they packed up the moving van, she was always pushing all four of me and my siblings in the car and getting us going, and always made sure that we had a loving home to reside in wherever it went. Because the team was kind of the main entertainment and the driver, but our family made anywhere we went home. And I called Boise, Idaho home for a long time. I moved here when I was in the 4th grade when my dad took the job with Dirk Cutter to come to Boise State. I graduated from Bishop Kelly High School, met some of my best friends ever, made some unbelievable memories there. Like I said, my final game here was at Holt Arena, and I remember when Pocatello High School had that thing rocking, so I expect the same thing here in Holt Arena once we get it going here. I got to thank everybody at UC Davis, the coaches on staff and the players there. I know that we're going to compete against them now, but I love those kids, and I would not be here without all of their hard work and sacrifice. The coaches that I worked with had a huge part in our offensive success. probably more than I did. Our players were outstanding, and really appreciate all of those guys' efforts throughout the years. I also want to say thank you to some of my coaches growing up that had a huge impact on my life, notably Tim Brennan, who just recently retired at Bishop Kelly High School, is one of the greatest men I've ever met. When I started playing at Bishop Kelly, I didn't really want to go to BK. I wanted to go to a public school because those were all my baseball buddies. But when I went to Bishop Kelly, Tim Brennan was the first coach I had. He pushed me to the brink. He challenged me. But he loved me and always had a smile on his face. And just seeing that guy be a dad, his son was on my football team, be a dad but a leader to that football program really inspired me to be a football coach. And I was in high school. I always thought I wanted to be a high school coach just because he was so awesome to me. If you guys remember, the late Bill Buckner resided in Boise. When I moved to Boise, Idaho in 4th grade, I didn't have any friends and it was baseball season. And somehow I ended up on that football team, or that baseball team, excuse me. Man, he pumped a lot of life into me. This guy was one of the greatest Major League Baseball players of all time, and he had been through it. He had been raked over the coals by the media. But man, he loved on me, and he preached the value of fundamentals, and we had a great time playing baseball. And for a long time, I thought I was going to be a baseball player until I realized I couldn't hit it very far. Now, he fixed that, and, we got a little bit better, but he made athletics an important part of my life, and he really gave me so much self-belief. He turned me into a kid who was just kind of a nomad moving around with my dad on football teams, to a guy that saw athletics as a force multiplier in my life. And then Bob Johnson, who is suffering from dementia right now. He may not remember me, but he's a legendary high school coach at Mission Viejo in Southern California. I was fortunate enough to coach his son, Barack Johnson, at UC Davis, an amazing kid. But I was just a small town kid in the eyes of people from Southern California. And the college recruiting game is nuts right now, but I would fly down there to go to camps. And man, that guy coached me, he loved me, he inspired me, and he said, "Hey, Cody, you're one of the best quarterbacks in the country. You can play anywhere." And I was a little guy, and I know I can't run, but man, I love the game. And he gave me so much confidence that I could do it at a high level. And now we know I'm a terrible athlete. You can look at my stats. I was not a very good quarterback, but he made me think I was, and I would run through a wall for that guy. And then talking about my dad, I wouldn't be here without him. He's been a mentor, a leader, just an inspiration for me and my family. I think he taught us that, football can be great and powerful when done right. And I grew up in locker rooms, and, I hit my head more on locker room floors, jumping off of locker rooms, trying to put on helmets that were too big than I ever did actually playing the game. But jumping on pads and using athletic tape to build bungees and swings from the ceiling. But I loved it, and that's why I want my kids to be around that. And I'm so honored that my first opportunity to lead a program is back in my home state, around people that I love and value, because having their support means a lot to me. And I want my kids to be a part of the special community that I was able to be raised in. That's a football program that shows kids that you can compete and you can be your best and you can win championships while doing it with integrity and love. I've met a lot of football coaches in my career, and the convention is every January, and I would say, man, I don't always want to go to the convention because I feel like half the coaches there hate their jobs because they're coaching scared, they don't like where they work, they take the jobs for the right reasons, and they feel so much pressure to win that they coach kids with fear. And don't get me wrong, fear is a powerful motivator. It is. It's probably the most consistent motivator. If you can recruit the best players in the country and you use fear to scare them into playing well, you'll probably win 80% of your games. But the real magic that happens, like the magic that happened here in 1981 when Idaho State won a national championship, is a lot like some magic that I've been a part of in my high school and collegiate careers. But when you have those magical years, love is the common thread. Right, and loving is not always easy. I don't want to be one of the cheesy coaches that stands up here, and I don't want to tell these guys, "Hey, I'm going to tell you I love you on day one." Because if you met somebody and went on a first date and they told you they loved you on day one, you'd get out. Right? That's a little freaky, right? Now, you can say you're going to love on them, because what is love? It's a relentless dedication to putting them first, to showing them the good, bad, or indifferent. You're going to put their needs ahead of yours. And I look forward to doing that for these student athletes. They've been through a lot in the last 3 years. But college football should first and foremost be a fun, amazing experience that helps propel these young men to heights greater than they ever thought imaginable. And they can't do it by themselves. They can't do it with me, but they can do it together with each other and with this community. You know, there's been a lot of talk about, hey, Coach, what's your vision for the program? I can't wait to see what you're going to do. And it's not about what I am going to do. It's about what we are going to do. Because Lord knows all those renovations in Holt Arena that are absolutely incredible, adding on to a place that's already really hard to play. I've won in Holt. One of my greatest memories was in Holt. One of my worst memories when we got our butt kicked here last year in 2021. A lot of these kids were on that football team. Right? But Pauline and President Satterley making that happen, it's absolutely incredible. You know, and all the alumni, all the supporters in the community, we need every single one of you guys, not to wrap your arms around me, but to wrap them around these kids. Because if you want those kids to run through a wall for you, you gotta love on them. And it doesn't mean it's always going to be easy, but you gotta love on them. And it starts with me, it starts with you guys, and that starts today. 365. We gotta make sure Pocatello feels like a special community when recruits come here. We got to make sure in today's football, where kids, rightly so, have the opportunity to get up and leave whenever they want. We got some kids in the transfer portal right now. Kids do deserve the opportunity to have a do-over. I totally agree with that. But we do not want kids to come here and have a negative experience where they feel like they have to leave. This is a unique place that has won and will win again. But it's going to happen if all of us can wrap our arms around these kids. My true vision for the program is to make this a place where we create the ultimate student-athlete experience. Winning is part of that, absolutely. Is offense a part of that? Absolutely. But it's making sure that they get the right nutrition, that they come here and they develop, that they make great friends, that they have opportunities for internships. If they want to study abroad, we're going to let them do it, because we got to win, gosh darn it, but happy cows make the best milk, and we got to make sure we keep these boys happy. Now, we got to push them. I got to push them. They got to push each other. If you want to be an elite football team, it does not matter what a coach says. A coach can get you to a certain point and he can hold you accountable, but it's when players hold each other accountable and the players lead each other, those are the elite teams. Right? They say there are three kinds of leaders. I learned this from my dad, so he's going to say, hey, I didn't get quoted for that, but this is from my dad. But they say the worst type of leader is the one that everybody likes. Okay? The best type of leader, the worst type of leader is the one that everybody likes. Okay? The next worst is the one that everybody hates. But the best type of leader is the one where the group says, we could have done it without him. Because there are talented kids on this football team. I've seen them play great. I know when we played them this year, it was harder than heck to score. We'd get down in the red zone. They had some tough, they bowed up their neck and they battled. And we got to love these kids. We got to make sure that they go to battle for you guys, for me, for each other every single day. You know, you don't need to scare these kids into being tough. You got to be tough mentally and physically to play college football. But any of you who have ever had the pleasure of seeing your wife give birth, I bet you weren't in front of her dog cussing her to do a better job, right? There's nobody in the world tougher than my mom, and she birthed 4 of us. And my wife, man, she could play middle linebacker for any team in the country after what she went through with my 2 kids, okay? Now we got to coach her up. I don't know if she's gap sound, but she'd give it her all, okay? But again, I'm so thankful for this opportunity, and I look forward to working my tail off for you guys and the great people of the state of Idaho. I have a lot of awesome memories here, a lot of great relationships here, and I look forward to really capitalizing on this momentum and the great administrative support that is in place to help these kids have an amazing experience at Idaho State. And I hope it's wins. I know it'll be wins, but right now, it's about wrapping your arms around these kids. We got to find a staff, many of whom are still in place here, who can take care of these kids. It's not just about X's and O's. It's about inspiring young men, teaching young men, getting on their level. Because high school plays run the same plays that Alabama runs, but there's a difference that Nick Saban has won so many national titles. Okay, because he knows how to reach kids. He gets great players, but he teaches them and he develops them, and that's why they're great. There's a reason we've had success at Davis in the past. It's because we love on those kids relentlessly, and we try and put their needs ahead of ours, and I really, really look forward to doing that here. This is a unique place. What has worked other places, whether it's Boise State, Colorado, Bishop Kelly, Davis, that's not going to work here. This is a unique place with unique strengths and unique challenges. So I look forward to getting on campus and listening to you guys. I don't want to stand up here and talk and tell you all the great things that I'm going to do. I want to talk about the great things that we're going to do together. I want to know what you guys have been missing, what additions you guys think need to happen, what are challenges that we face, how can we attack them together, what are some of our strengths, and how do we emphasize those in the recruiting process, on the field, on the game day experience. Let's do that. And for all these players here, they deserve our best, your best and my best every single day. So I look forward to giving that to them. I look forward to listening to these guys and help them build the optimal student-athlete experience on the field and off of it, because that's what it's all about. College football, especially at the Power 5 level, has basically turned to professional sports. But there's a very, very special place for true collegiate athletics, and the Big Sky Conference is the premier conference in the FCS, and you got to fight tooth and nail to win here. You got to fight tooth and nail to recruit here, but we can do it, and we're going to do it together. So I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you guys for being here. I know you guys all have something better to do today, so I don't know who talked you guys into being here, but I appreciate your support. I look forward to seeing all of you. I hope I can shake all of your guys' hands, but I really am so honored and thankful to be here. Thank my family, thank Pauline and President Satterley, and go Bengals. We can sit down. We can sit down. Yep.
We'll invite a few questions from the media, please. I think you use your coach voice, Greg.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not a coach. That's a figure for. Hey, Greg was about the journal here. You said on the radio the other day that you were never looking to leave. You never wanted to be a head coach. Mm-hmm. What changed your mind, and why was I to the place to do that?
Yeah, here. Well, Finley has a good answer for you. You say hi to Boppy. He's probably watching. So I really think when you find kind of your sweet spot in life, you always have goals in mind, but it's about the process that really brings you joy. And I was fortunate to be at a place where we had an opportunity to win, and it was a great place to live with my family. And I'd always talk to Tiana as I was getting into this coaching business that I wasn't going to chase jobs, that I wanted to treat people right. That I wanted to treat people right, and I wanted an opportunity to win football games because I am a really competitive guy. But I know in college football it's so rare to find places to do that. And especially in the state of Idaho, really only having 3 college football teams at the Division I level. If you want to coach elite football, there aren't that many opportunities. And I enjoyed growing and competing every day, and I was really happy in my role. But I've always enjoyed leading people and helping people achieve a common goal. And, obviously nobody kind of expected this opportunity would be there. But I knew when Pauline first reached out to me, I said, all right, everybody says, hey, interview. It's a great experience to interview, which it was. But in talking to some of the people that I trust in this business, they all said that she's a rock star. And I said, all right, when I interview, I'm going to be exactly who I want to be. I'm not going to walk in there and make it, because I can figure out how to win an interview. I can look up stuff and try and say the right things. But it was about saying what are the things that ring true in my heart and what I really believe in, because I don't want to put my family in a bad spot. I want my kids to be able to be around the program. I want to be somewhere where we can treat people right, and the administration supports and believes in that same philosophy. And when I spoke with them, everything that I was saying seemed to resonate with them. And Idaho State, you're coming home, you're coaching football for a proud program. It was really an unbelievable opportunity that I couldn't pass up. Either one of you guys. Yeah.
Coach, I think that the people of Southeast Idaho, and Ocala in particular, they want a team that matches their identity. They want a team that'll work hard, they're not afraid to get their hands dirty to accomplish their goals. How do you feel like your team is going to match that identity on the field?
It's a great question. I know that we're going to talk about smiling and laughter a lot, which Is it actually true that it is illegal to frown in Pocatello? You have to smile? Yes, thank you, Kay. All right, so that's part of it. It's legally a responsibility you have here. But watch out, kids. But I think, I was fortunate as a young kid to grow up and see Dirk Cutter go to work, and obviously he has great ties to Idaho State. And then with my father at Boise State, and then Chris Peterson as well, who's a mentor of mine. But that blue-collar mentality you can't escape it. And we talk about wanting to have fun. Fun is, I don't want to coach a program that's not fun to be a part of. I don't. But if you want to do anything worthwhile in life, you got to work your butt off. You do. I mean, if you want to be a good lawyer, if you want to be a good doctor, if you want to be a good high school coach, if you want to be a good wrestling coach, if you want to be a good math teacher, you got to work your butt off. So we're going to set goals together, and we're going to figure out what bar we want to jump over, and then we're going to hold each other accountable, and we're going to work our fanny off to do it. A big part of working hard is also, A, knowing where you're going, but being very intentional about it every day. And just like you guys were intentional about coming out in here and supporting it every day, I want to make sure that these players, when we set goals, that we're intentional about the work that we do every day. Because there's so many college football teams that feel like, well, we stayed over the summer and we worked out. We were working so hard. But everybody does that. Are you doing extra reps? Are you staying and working extra? That's important, because I know you guys are going to spend your extra dollars to support the program and come see us play. So we better be giving you extra effort. That's me. That's Finn, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. And the guys on this football team. So Idaho, the great thing about it's a blue-collar state. I know it seems like everybody from California is moving up here, but I swear I'm from Idaho, okay? So don't get mad when my California plates roll into town the first time. But we got to work hard. We will work hard. Working hard is a prerequisite in anything that you do. But also, keeping the local talent home. It was a bummer when we kept playing Weber State and we kept getting smoked by all these great players. I'm like, man, where'd these guys come from? And they're all from Idaho. And I was like, oh my gosh. If we had more out-of-state scholarships at UC Davis, I would have been able to come up here and get more guys. One of my favorite kids that I recruited on the team was from Idaho. I don't want to mention his name for tampering purposes, but he's an incredible kid, an unbelievable player. But there's great talent here, and especially at the Big Sky level. There's enough talent in this state to win a Big Sky championship. We just got to make sure we do the hard work of building those relationships. And it's not just talking to high schools when they have really good players. It's about consistent communication, being clear with the young kids about what we're looking for and where they might fit in the program, and then building relationships with them so they can help us throughout the process to get the right kids here. Yeah, honey?
Don't forget my turn.
Oh, it's your turn. Do you have something to say?
My grandma has some doggy names, Allie and Lucy.
So her Grammy, Wendy, in Boise has dogs Ellie and Lucy that she's very excited to see at Christmas. So, yeah. Does that answer your question? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a follow-up, how many fullbacks do you plan on carrying on the roster?
Well, you got to have at least one. My dad's an old fullback, so, we say, throw to score, run to win. I didn't invent that saying, but that's true. So you got to be able to put it in the air, especially when you're going to play 6 or 7 games a year in the Dome. But anytime you get down on the goal line or in short yardage, you got to run the football to win. And we got hard-nosed kids that I know on this football team will help us get it in there.
That's the answer I want.
All righty.
I'm Glenn Westbrook with the campus radio station, KISU. And you talked about coming back here from California and obviously you spent time out of the state. Transitioning back to Idaho, I looked at the temperature, the weather, and next weekend I think it's supposed to be down to 1 degree overnight. How does that compare to Davis, California?
Oh boy, Davis, I've had frost on my windshield 5 times since I've been there. But, I played in snow. Probably there's no colder game that I've ever played in than when we went up to Sandpoint in the playoffs when I was in high school. And there was thunder and snow at the same time. So luckily we won't have to deal with that in Holt Arena. But to win the Big Sky, we're going to have to play in some tough weather games, and I'm ready for that. I went to school at Colorado when I was in college.
Dada?
Yes, honey?
I'm ready to go home and work.
Oh, you are? Okay, well, where's Mommy at? Yeah, here. Go with Mommy. Look.
Daddy, I want you to come.
I'll come in just a second, okay, honey?
Mommy,
But, yeah, you got to be ready for cold weather. You just have to. You know, if you want to win a championship at any level, you're going to deal with bad weather. Look at the FCS playoffs this year. Sacramento, it was an absolute downpour, right, in one of their playoffs games. So I don't really care about the temperature. I don't. I mean, you got to play regardless. It's nice to not have to deal with that all the time, but they're great people here, and they're tough people, and that's part of it. I always say that, you know, the weather should not determine your mentality in any football game because the other team has to deal with it as well. I look forward to buying some new nice coats that I don't fit in anything I wore in high school anymore, so I'm going to need some more stuff. But I'm excited about the opportunity to come home, and my kids are really excited to build some snowmen. That's been like object number one. When we got to Pokey, my daughter said, all right, I'm ready to build a snowman. Let's go, Dad. So, well, it sounds like we're going to get some here, though, tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw Montana State's playoff game just this past weekend. They ended up winning big, but they had like ice all over the sidelines and stuff, so they were sliding around there too.
Yeah, you got to use it to your advantage. You got to use it to your advantage. But luckily, hopefully, we won't have to deal with that in our home games. But we're willing to go win anywhere we got to play. Well, first and foremost, the biggest advantage of being inside is your crowd noise. And obviously, we got to win football games to fill the dome. I'm not going to say fill the dome on game one, but that's up to you guys. I think I know you can, and I know you want to. We got to put a product on the field that you guys are proud of, that you guys are excited about, and make sure that you see our players working hard and see our guys being good role models out in the community, so you want to come and support them. Because if you can have a loud stadium, it really helps your defense out. It just really does. It's the amount of prep that goes into playing those loud games is I can't overemphasize how important it is to be loud when you're at home, and the dome will allow us to do that. Also, knowing that you're going to be able to play indoors is very conducive to a passing game. I'm a quarterback. I want to throw the football, but you also have, you know, look at our running backs at Davis. Our running backs were heavily involved in everything that we were doing. We had, you know, Lan and Zoe. I think they were 3 and 4 in the conference in all-purpose yards, but they, you know, I think Zoe led our team in receptions, but you know, you want to throw the football, but your backs need to be a huge part of that. And we just got to score points, but it's not about scoring 100 every game. Now, we're going to try to score 100 every game, but it's about putting your kids in a position to be successful and playing in a way that really highlights their skill sets and give our team an opportunity to be successful.
Anybody else?
So I totally regretted not asking this question to the last coach, but do you have a plan in place to, and the institution too, so you guys too, to make this school and this program something to want to stay at? So like you look at Montana State, Montana, Weaver now, the only time the coaches leave is if they go somewhere big. I can't knock somebody to go, it's a business, I get it, to go make millions coaching at a bigger school. But do you have that in mind, like, I want to make this my destination until I get asked a question that I can't refuse it? Even all of us will just be proud that you moved on versus this is not good, I got to go.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of guys that like to win the press conference and promise that I am never going to leave. But I'm never going to tell you guys anything but the truth, right? I'm going to try and be as honest as I can. I love being at Idaho State. I didn't want to leave Davis, but I'm here because this is a great opportunity. I believe in the people here, both on the team, in the program, in the community. I know this is a great place and it's an extremely rare opportunity. But I can tell you what, I have zero desire to go be a Power 5 coach for somebody I don't know, because the most important thing anywhere you go is the people. And the greatest thing about this opportunity is I get to live around great people. I get the opportunity to coach and recruit great people. I get to work under great people. And that's the most important thing. You know, as you talk about the Montanas and the Montana State, Weber State schools that have had some success in the Big Sky, those people there's hand in hand, they've increased their resources, the community has supported it, they've won to just create a positive feedback loop, and it has just created a great place that is hard to leave. But every place is going to be harder to leave for different people. Some people are going to leave for money. I don't need more money. I mean, I need to have gas in the car and I need to have a roof over our head. But what I need is great people. And that's why I'm here, because of the people. Now, we got to push to get better. We do. But we have enough here to be successful. And we're going to set a target, and I'm going to work with President Satterley and Pauline. We're going to set some ambitious goals. But we're not going to cry about it on our way there. We're going to make sure we do everything we can to be successful in the short term with the idea of improving the entire experience for the players, the fans, the coaches, and the administration in the long term. I'm not looking to leave at all. I'm not going to leave in the short term. Right? My old man found a place that meant a lot to him because for him, Northern California is home, but for me, Idaho is home. So this is an extremely special opportunity for me that I don't take lighthearted. I'm not looking to leave. I don't plan on leaving, but hopefully they keep me as long as I want to stay here. That's the goal. But I really look forward to being here for a long time and doing everything I can to help you guys be proud.
I know this isn't necessarily something you're going to go into full detail about publicly, but what is kind of your approach, maybe handling some of the previous assistant coaches left over from the last administration?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of really good football coaches on staff, and I've been able to reach out to a couple of them, and I have a lot of their network reaching out to me, and I've also seen them play. I know the record didn't show it, but there were a lot of positive things they did do on the field last year, and I talked to Pauline about trying to make sure we can attack that margin that, regardless of the score, winning and losing games comes down to a couple plays that tip the tide and trying to eliminate those. And coaches have a part in that. They absolutely do. So do players. But it's my job to make sure that the coaches that stay here are the coaches that the kids really trust. Because if my goal is to make being a Bengal absolutely amazing, we got to have some serious conversations about, hey, kids, who did that? Now, you can't believe absolutely everything you hear because maybe one kid had a bad experience, but I got to reach out to their references and use my network and talk to the kids on the team. And the truth is always somewhere in the middle, but ultimately it's going to come down to a gut decision on me about what's best for the program and the kids going forward. And there's some great guys here. I want to keep people. It's important to keep guys that know the lay of the land, both in the conference, currently on the football team and in town. And so we're absolutely going to retain some guys. I hate the fact that there will be some guys who may not be here, but that's the cold hard truth of it. Again, I don't want to say one thing and do another, but if we're going to bring somebody in, it's because I feel a conviction that they're going to add something to this program, and they are totally in line with my philosophy. And every organization, if you want to be successful, it's about going in the exact same direction. It's not here, it's not there. If you're rowing straight ahead and I'm rowing, 3 degrees to the right, we're going to lose to somebody who's rowing all in the same direction. So we got to try and make sure that everybody here is all on board for the same reasons that I'm on board, that the kids love them and trust them and appreciate them, that they're adding value to the program, and that we all are aligned with the same common goal.
Coach, in the ever-changing college football landscape, do you think that Idaho State University and Fort Palo in general
Is a place that can utilize NIL as a recruiting tool?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. I know we're all thinking about the Dr. Pepper Fansville commercials where Bryce Young's getting paid $1 million to walk into a room and just go, what are you guys doing here? Our kids don't need to do that. But in NIL, if there are restaurants here that can give food to kids, right? Oh my guys, who's hungry right now? Raise your hand. Okay? All right? Go find them and help them out. If you know, right? John Barab's already here, my guy. Okay? But guys, everybody here, any company, no matter how small, if you guys want to support our kids, we'll make sure we go through the right compliance channels to make sure. But the great thing about Idaho is there are people who love their community, and there are some powerful things here. Whether it's a one-off mom and pop store, if it's a giant chain that you guys own, there are ways to support these kids. And it doesn't mean that they need multi-million-dollar deals. It's not about spending the most money. It's about making these kids feel like this is a great experience, making them feel that they're valued. And there are holes in every scholarship check and every bit of thing that an administration can provide student athletes, and the community can definitely help supplement that. We obviously welcome anybody who wants to get involved. If you want to get involved in any small way, if you want to pay kids $5 to throw a slogan on the radio or do an Instagram post, all that stuff helps. But we got to go through the right compliance channels to do that. You absolutely can help. Don't think it has to be a mountain of support. A grain of rice can tip the scales. So if you think you can help us, I think you can help us. So let's get together and figure it out.
Coach, are you going to be your own offensive coordinator, or are you going to bring in somebody else?
Well, we'll see. I was only the offensive coordinator last year when we won games. When we lost games, I was not calling plays. But I'm looking at that. I'll be heavily involved regardless. I know I've had some conversations with other coaches that I trust, and just at this level, when you can't always provide the massive salaries that other people take, and when you have success, there's going to be attrition. You want to have your hands in, because that's why I got here. That's kind of been my calling card in my young coaching career, and so I intend on being really heavily involved. But it's going to take an entire staff. Mike Cody at UC Davis, our offensive line coach, he had just as much to do with things as I did. I had to go with my gut. I had to kind of organize things, but the offensive line coach is extremely, extremely important. I know Ryan Daly back here he's a pupil of one of the guys I respect most in college football, Paul Wolf, who's now the head coach at Cal Poly. But I'm going to be heavily involved, and I'm going to do my best to call plays, but I got to make sure that we're doing the very best thing possible, because as a head coach, you're going to have a lot more administrative duties. So I got to make sure that I delegate appropriately and bring guys in on the staff who can handle some of those things and compliment me there and take things off my plate when I do need to jump into the X's and O's. But the most important thing here is that we do things right by the kids and that we do things that are going to help us win. So I plan on calling plays, but I'll keep you posted as we go. I think I can do it. I'm pretty confident that I can, but we got to put the best staff together, and their strengths just might end up that somebody else does it, but I plan on it.
With getting more attention here, how much do you plan this more like portal?
Do programs or whatever.
It's not about getting great right now. It's about getting the right kids. So I know we could jump in the portal and sign 50 kids by Wednesday, but I think when you build a program that is consistent and you have total buy-in, there's a lot of time that it takes to date these kids and their families. The apple does not fall far from the tree. So we got to talk to these kids, whether it's their mom or their dad. Maybe they don't have a mom and dad. Maybe it's someone that they really lean on, a parent figure for them. We got to talk to their high school coaches and make sure that we're bringing in kids that really exemplify the values that Idaho State wants to be great at. And that's, it's working hard, it's being a good person, it's setting goals, achieving things, being a great teammate, competing your tail off. It's going to take time. The portal has made things seemingly quicker, but I will say this, everybody's in the portal for a reason, right? They're leaving for a reason. And kind of like in relationships, once a cheater, always a cheater. If the guy's left once, he's probably going to leave again. Kids deserve the right to leave. They absolutely do, and I'm happy for them. But you got to reward the kids that are staying here and putting their faith in Idaho State University and build a team that those guys are going to be proud of. I'm not a big fan of the saying, Pauline alluded to it, where coaches say, my job is to out-recruit you, your job is to make sure it doesn't happen. My job is to bring in kids that will add to the program. Because if you can do something well, you will play here and you will help us. But you got to be able to do it well, and you got to be able to do it consistently. And we got to bring in kids that will add. Would that mean we're going to bring in some guys who are going to play right away? Probably. But I'm not. I'm a lot of things. I'm not Deion Sanders. I can't tell all these kids to get in the portal because that's not how I roll, right? I'm just not. I want these kids to have a great experience with me. I want them to get a fair shake, because when we build it, we're going to do it right. We got to build this thing on rock. We're not going to build it on sand, and it starts with these kids in the room right here.
Okay. Coach, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Take some time.
Appreciate it.